Yeah. Can you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In a brief overview, we was talking about different different tools and techniques in the total quality management, and we covered all these like SPC, EDSA, deeming 14 points, quality triology, 8 dimensions of quality, cause and effect analysis. These are the techniques we was covered up to today, up to the last class. And in today class, we are discussing about the tool called QFD. It is the shortest form of quality function deployment analysis, and one of the important tool and the technique widely using in many industries and the organizations, both product as well as service industries worldwide. And in today class, I'm going to discuss about that particular tool that is called quality function deployment analysis in detail. The In today's session, you maybe understand about how to develop this quality function deployment tool, and in the later classes, I will take some case studies to how to calculate and how to develop this quality function deployment analysis. For today's purpose, please understand how this quality function deployment analysis looks like, and what is the procedure and what is the step-by-step procedure to develop this QFD. That is a basic idea of today's session. And in the later classes, I will detail about applications, all that, because of it takes already huge time for developing of the QFD itself. A small introduction I would like to give that this particular QFD was actually developed way back in 1966, something like that. And first, the Mitsubishi Heavy Industries has adopted this QFD analysis, and then later the Cope shipyards, they have used it, and then subsequently these Toyota minivans, they started using this QFD analysis, and they found the significant reduction in their cost. That is, at 1979, they observed 20% of the reduction in startup cost in Toyota minivans, and then subsequent years like 1982, the reduction in the startup cost is around 38% and the 61% respectively, by adopting this QFD analysis. And they found that just QFD is very powerful and very important tool for the reduction in cost and reduction of wastages. And after seeing these reductions in Toyota minivans and their improvements, this Xerox company, they have adopted this QFD analysis at the year 1984. After that, you can see there are many manufacturing and service industries trying to adopt and use this kind of QFD analysis in their industries. That is a short introduction about the QFD, but wider applications I will let you know during the subsequent classes. Actually, the QFD, also call it as house of quality. It looks exactly like this, house of quality. If you observe this house of quality, it is looking like a house having top roof, left column, right column, in between some base, and below also you can see some base. And in the right, in the left column, we are calling it as a customer requirements, also call it as voice of the customers. This is about the left column representation. And in the right column, if you observe, it is called prioritized customer requirements. That is mentioned in the right hand column. This is the left column and the right column. Left column represents customer requirements. Right column represents prioritized customer requirements. And one another thing you can find that is called technical descriptors. The technical descriptors also call it as voice of the organization. You can see voice of the customer here, and above that you can see the voice of the organization. Generally, the voice of the organization depicts the technical descriptors. And above this voice of the organization, you may find a roof kind of shape. It is actually depicting the interrelationship between the technical descriptors. What are the technical descriptors you are having? That interrelationship you can find at the rooftop. That is called interrelationship between the technical descriptors. And you may also find something at the middle, at this part. This is called relationship between requirements and descriptors. That means the requirements are generally customer requirements and the customer prioritized customer requirements. These customer requirements and the technical descriptors, there is a relationship between these two. That relationship matrix you can find at the relationship between the technical requirements and descriptors. After finding of all that, at the bottom base, you have to find out prioritized technical descriptors. Like you prioritize here in the left hand, right hand column, you prioritize the customer requirements. That what are the customer requirements you are having here? At the right hand column, you prioritize those customer requirements. Similarly, what are the technical descriptors you are having? You are prioritizing the technical descriptors at the base. And there is a relationship between these customer requirements and the technical descriptors that is at here. And there is a relationship between technical descriptors and that is mentioned over here at the rooftop. Basically, it is looking like a house. That is why we are calling it as a house of quality, right? And now let us see in detail about how to construct this house of quality and how each segment look like and how to develop these relationships between one to another. So for that, you have to develop or build a house of quality. For developing a house of quality, like it looks like this. At the right hand side, you can see exactly this kind of house of quality you have to develop. Or for, in fact, any kind of organization, it can be a manufacturing organization or it could be a service organization. If you want to develop it, you have to follow a step-by-step procedure to develop this house of quality. And that step-by-step procedure I have listed here in the left-hand column. What you have to do is, first, you have to list customer requirements. That is the first part. In this house of quality, a very first step is you have to list the customer requirements. That is the first step. Anyway, in the next slides, I will detail you what you have to list and how you have to list all that information. But a very first step to develop this house of quality is you have to first list the customer requirements, and generally it is a voice of the customer, like what exactly the customer is willing is customer requirement is. The customer requirement could be segregated here. It could be a primary requirement, it could be a secondary requirement, it could be a tertiary requirement. That segregation you have to do in detail about the customer requirements. The customer requirement could be a bicycle. The customer requirement could be a mobile phone. The customer requirement could be kind of something like a laptop. It depends upon the customer. So these customer requirements is also call it as a voice of the customers. That is why we are calling it as what. What is the customer requirement? That should be listed at here. When you are listing of the customer requirement, you should be very cautious. Anyway, that I will detail in the next slide. in specific. Now, after listing out the what's, that is called voice of the customer, the next one is you have to list the technical descriptors. This is the second part. I can call this is the first step. This is supposed to be the first step. And then list technical descriptors. That means, for example, bicycle. If you take a bicycle, for manufacturing of the bicycle generally requires 2 tires. Tire is having tubes, and each tire requires spokes, number of spokes, number of ball bearings, number of tubes required to develop or to manufacture that particular tire, and how many such tires are required, and what is the material you have to use for particular bicycle. If it is a sports bicycle, you will use specific kind of material. If it is a normal ordinary use, you will use different kind of material. So that technical descriptors in detail according to the customer requirements is called how. That is called voice of the organization. That should be detailed at this particular part. I am mentioning here, this is the second step. So according to the customer requirement, what's, you need to identify the technical descriptors about that particular customer requirement. That you should do at the second part. After doing these, what you have to do is you have to develop a relationship between what's and how's. So that is why I have given here. It is a third step. Here at this part, what you do is you have to develop the relation between this and this. And that could be in a form of matrix. It looks like this. And I'm generating here columns here. It depends upon the technical descriptors, like a material, for example, bill of material, master production schedule. That information should be represented here, right? So the relationship between these and the technical descriptors, that you will be mentioned at this particular part. That is what it is called, relationship between requirements and descriptors. That is the third part. You have to develop a relationship between what's and how's. So after doing that, you have to develop interrelationships. Here, interrelationships, that is called how I have to do the interrelationship. For example, I said you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you have 6 different categories of technical descriptors, then to identify the interrelationship between the technical descriptors, according to these, you have to generate house of, in this way, the 7 relationships, 3, 4, 5, and this one is 6. And again, this is about the customer requirement, and technical descriptors also you must be having, right? So this, and one more for this. In this way, the interrelationship between this, the interrelationship between the technical descriptors, that is called this one, as well as the customer descriptors, will be depicted at this particular place, right? That you have to prepare, that is called develop interrelationships, that is called house. This is the fourth part of the house of quality. And then after developing of interrelationships here, That is the fourth part. Then you have to competitive assessment. You have to do certain assessment, competitive assessment for identifying of all these after doing of all these four steps. Anyway, that I will be detailed. Next, prioritize the customer requirements. These customer requirements are there. You know what is the customer requirements that you have to prioritize at this particular column. That is your fifth step. Please prioritize the customer requirements. Similarly, for prioritizing of the customer requirement, you have all this information that is called relationship between requirements and descriptors. That matrix is there. With respect to the matrix, you will get the prioritized customer requirements. Similarly, you have to do the technical descriptors prioritization. That is at the sixth step. And you will do at the bottom base at here. This is about prioritizing of the technical descriptors. After doing of prioritize the customer requirements fifth step, you also have to do the prioritization of the technical descriptors. In this way, with the help of these steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, you will develop or build a house of quality. Right? And from the next slide onwards, I will detail you what is the first step and how you have to do in detail. So are you with me? Are you getting its voice is clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Up to now, did you understand what I'm discussing? If you have any doubts, please let me know. Okay, can I carry on?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, fine. So now understand clearly how this house of quality is developed in a step-by-step phase. You know what is the first step, what is the second step, what is the third step, and after doing of all these, like I said you here, I said you this is the customer requirements. The customer requirements could be a primary requirement, could be a secondary requirement. If it is a primary, the primary information should be there. If it is a secondary information should be there. Sometimes the customer requirements information may be 3 also, tertiary. Then one more column you have to give, that is called tertiary information. Similarly, you have a technical descriptors here. Technical descriptors is also primary technical descriptors. For example, material, some material you are using for the bicycle. It could be, some carbon steel, something like that. And if it is a composite, then for that composite material, what is the grade of the composite material? That could be the secondary information. Primary information is a steel, and in that, in specific, some proportion is there, that is called the secondary information. If you have a tires, how many number of tires? That could be the secondary information. So like that, in the technical descriptors, again, that is the second step, right? So you may be having the primary information, secondary information, or depending upon the problem nature, depending upon the customer requirement and the product category or the service category, the primary, secondary, tertiary, or 4 or 5, the levels may be changes, right? And then what you're supposed to do after finding out the customer requirement and the technical descriptors, you have to find a relationship, interrelationship between these two. That is this matrix I shown you, the interrelationship matrix. After doing of 1, 2, and 3, this is the fourth one, that a house of quality. Because here you are having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. At the top of the roof, you may see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. This is the 8 columns we have generated in that way. Anyway, I will show you how to generate on that, but in general, it will generate in this way. And then you have to be very careful about what scales we are defining for developing this house of quality. For example, relationship between customer requirements and the technical descriptors. I said you this is the relationship matrix, right? The third one. For giving the relationship between these customer requirements and the technical descriptors, for this relationship matrix, generally we use the scale that is this one. If it is strongly preferable, then we are mentioning a scale that is called +9. You have to mention 9 in this box. It is strongly preferable with this primary descriptor. Then it is called 9. No, it is weakly preferable. Then you have to mention +1. No, it is medium. Then you have to mention 3. In this way, the customer relationship and the customer requirements and the technical descriptors interrelationship, this particular matrix will be filled. This will be filled with the help of this scale, that is strongly preferable, medium preferable, or weakly. It generally the primary customer requirement and the technical descriptors managers will sit together. They will decide upon whether it is a strongly preferable or weakly or mediumly preferable. Accordingly, they will develop this matrix with the help of scale called +9, +3, and +1, or this is the symbol they will use. This is the different kind of symbols also you will use for filling this particular matrix. After doing that, you know very well, you have to find the technical descriptors interrelation between the technical descriptors. This is also called as correlation matrix. Okay, this is called relationship matrix, and this particular matrix we are calling it as, it's called correlation matrix. This is correlating between house and house. In between these two, how and how, you will fill here. This is called correlation matrix. And to fill inside, what is the relationship between this technical descriptor and this primary descriptor, that you will fill at this box. While filling this, you will use this scale. That is, if it is strongly correlated, then it is called strongly positive. You may mention with the symbol called plus. This is the symbol you will use, and the number you will use is +9. If it is somewhat lessly strongly positive, that is called positive, then you will use this symbol, and this is the number you will generally give. Either you can use these numbers or these symbols according to your wish. And if it is negative, means this is the symbol you will give, and the value you will fill in this correlation matrix is -3. And strongly negative means this is the symbol and this is the number you will fill in this correlation matrix. It is these numbers and symbols, and this kind of language what we are using, that is called customer requirement, technical descriptors, relationship between the customer requirement, relationship matrix, and correlation matrix is common, and it is generalized to every industry. It could be a product industry or it can be a service industry. And in entire world, for the development of QFD matrix, they will use the same language and same symbols and same numbers. So wherever you go, we will use the same ones. So you need not to worry about, sir, somebody using some number. No, this is the generalized numbers, generalized symbols, and the language also same for every organization in the entire world. So in this way, you will fill it. After that, I said you prioritize customer requirements. For prioritizing, what you're supposed to do is, for example, this is your company. Your company, that is why I have given here R. The meaning of R means here your company requirements. Accordingly, you will generate the scale. You will prioritize the customer requirement. But here I have given another one also, A's and B's. The meaning of A's and B's is, for example, the same product is developing by some other organization, and that organization is number one in the business for manufacturing of that particular product. That company is A. Like similarly, the second rank company, that is called B, which is doing the same thing, same kind of business, that is called B. If you want to need some more, you want to compare your organization with 3-4 organizations, that is also your wish. In general, we have to compare with at least 2 organizations of the same category. That is why A's and B's we have taken. And in general, you will compare. That is why customer competitive assessment you will do with your company, along with the other 2 companies, 1 and 2 companies in that same. While doing that assessment, there are some other things that is called customer importance, target value, scale up factor, sales point, absolute weight. These are the parameters you will check among your company with the other companies. These are the parameters. These are the parameters, 5 parameters you will check. Customer importance, target value, scale up factor, sales point, and absolute weight. These all the things we will calculate here. This you will calculate here. For the company of yours and the company of A's and companies of B, then you will compare according to these preferences, these parameters, and then you will decide whether your company is performing better or not with respect to these companies, right? And similarly, this is about the prioritization of the customer requirements with respect to the customer requirement. Similarly, you have to do with respect to the technical descriptors. Here we have mentioned the technical descriptors. With respect to technical descriptors, you have to do the competitive assessment, that is your company with respect to the company A and the company B. If you want to write some more, you can mention C, D companies also. Here, for the customer requirements, to prioritize the customer requirements, we mentioned these are the 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parameters. Similarly, for the technical descriptors or technical competitive assessment, you have different parameters. This is degree of technical difficulty, what is the target value, what is the absolute weight and percentage, and what is the relative weight and percentage. Of course, I will discuss in detail what is the meaning of each parameter is, and what is the relative meaning, what is the significance of this, and in detail about that one anyway I will discuss while we are developing this house of quality for the real life problem. So, and then after finding out your this customer competitive assessment with this as well as technical competitive assessment, at the end you will fill this particular prioritized technical descriptors also. So anyway, that we have to do with respect to the technical descriptors, that you will prioritize it, right? So in this way, you will develop in detail of this house of quality, right? House of quality is looks like, if you develop, it looks exactly like this. This you need to fill. Okay, and I have actually downloaded one more templates. This is widely available. This I have downloaded from the some website. If you observe this house of quality, see the title means company. Can you see this template?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. The title indicates organization name, maybe some company name would be there. That company name is the title, and who is developing this, on which date, about that company information you will mention at this stage. And as I said you, like it is looking like house of quality, having columns of this side and columns of two columns. One is this and another is this, and there is a relationship matrix at the middle, right? And then there is a house of technical descriptors, and then relation between the technical descriptors, and in the bottom also you can see that one, and relative weightage, the below matrix you can see. And one more house of quality, this is the second type I have taken here. It looks like this. Generally all the house of quality, if you see, this is another one, this is another one, right? So if you also observe here they are our company, they are competing with the 5 companies. I think top 5 companies who are manufacturing that that particular product, they're comparing with the 5 companies. That is why it is up to you whether you will compare with the top 2, top 3, top 5 companies. It is up to your wish, right? And then you can also find, I mentioned already scales 9: strongly, moderate, and weak. These are the symbols, you can use it. Strong, positive correlation, negative correlation. These are the symbols, you can use it. And I have also mentioned you numbers for this very clearly in our PPT. Right? This is how the company is used. This is the company. The company is this one. If you go through this one, they can Air Academy Associates. They have given this particular template. They are using for a specific industry. Right? This is how to develop. Even you can develop after this class will be over. You can also develop this quality for the different organizations. So this is about QFT development. Up to here, it is clear. Any doubts? Can I continue?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Justin, are you there? Justin?
Yes, sir, I'm there, sir.
Yeah, great. Yash, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Fine. Now, let me explain you each and every column in detail again, how to develop it. As I said, the customer requirements falls under the first one. This customer requirement falls under the first, right? So how to develop this customer requirement? So this is how it looks like. Customer requirements. That means what's here. That is why I mentioned here what's customer requirements. Also, this column is also generally called as voice of the customer. While developing this one, you have to understand what is the customer looking for. What is the driving force behind QFD is customer dictates attributes of the product. For example, he is taking some product. He will mention, I need aesthetically beautiful. I need this much of strong product. I need the product within a so and so amount of time. Those are the customer requirements. Depending upon the customer requirements, what we should do is we have to generalize whether it is a primary requirement or whether it is a secondary requirement, right? So customer satisfaction generally depends on meeting or exceeding customer expectations, right? This is what every organization do. Customer expectations can be vague and in general in nature. Sometimes the customer expectations are very vague. You have to understand very clearly. That is why we have to have secondary as well as tertiary. Sir, why you can only do everything within the primary only? For example, he said the quality is one of the requirement of the customer. I can mention quality and I can continue to work without mentioning about the secondary and tertiary. When the customer is very specific and he may be mentioned that my product requirement should be having the confidence level of 95%. something like that, if he said, that means my product should have to have an error of only 0.05%. So here I will mention at primary case it is called quality, and in secondary maybe I will mention that is the quality standard should be with the confidence level of 95% at the secondary. And in specific about that, maybe I will mention at tertiary level, right? In this way, I will segregate the product information in detail. When you further elaborate from primary to secondary, some more detailed information you will get. And from secondary to tertiary, if you further elaborate, the detail to detail information about that particular parameter may be discussed, and that may be helpful for you. That is why this much of layers you have to mention. Of course, it purely depend upon the decision maker. How many layers you should further segregate the information. So customer expectations must be taken literally, not translate into what the organization desires. So this is the very important information for developing of the house of quality, because your QFD, quality function deployment, purely depends upon these customer requirements. If anything wrong happen at this stage, again, the hard work what you have done to do all this is in vain. That is why you have to be very cautious, even it is a qualitative aspect. You have to understand the qualitative aspect of the parameters very clearly. That is about the customer requirements, right? Anyway, I will take one example, then you will understand, and then only I will fill inside of these boxes so that you will understand. But at this case, you please understand the customer requirement means, yes, it can be segregated into layer by layers, and while going the deeper side of that, you will get the exact information what the customer is looking for. Now, you developed this one. What is the next phase? The next phase could be developing of the technical descriptors. That means how this customer requirement could be fulfilled. How? This is about the product and how it can be fulfilled. For example, he is ordered a bicycle. For the bicycle, maybe this information. For example, this information will be a tire. And what kind of tire? And how many tire? And then how many tires is required? And then how many tubes are required? Tubes of which category? And for example, in the tire, maybe the second product may be spokes in that particular tire. So how many spokes? Whether what kind of spokes? What is the material of the spoke? And how many spokes, and inventory? How much inventory should I use? Because during transportation, some tires may be wear out, or it's due to some cases some damage may be happen. So immediately to the shop, how to change, how many the spokes are required, all that information will be gathered at here. Again, if you go to the deeper side of the technical descriptors, you will understand the deeper sense of the technical descriptors. So this is how you will develop the customer requirements watch case. Accordingly, you will collect the technical descriptors. This one is generally done by all the technical managers in the company. They will sit together and they will discuss about this customer requirement. Accordingly, they will prepare this primary, secondary, and tertiary informations. Again, I am repeating, it is not necessary that every time this primary, secondary, and tertiary, only these three layers should be prepared. It can be only primary, it can be primary and secondary, it could be primary, secondary, tertiary. And if you need some more information, you can make it one more column here. It purely depends upon the decision makers, the technical expertise. depending upon the product customer requirements, right? And then what you have to do is, in the later case, you have to generate a relationship between customer requirement and the technical descriptors in this way. Now we developed this one, right? And then you developed this one, technical descriptors, again primary and secondary. And now this L-shaped interrelationship, if you keep both in this fashion, so you maybe understand about this primary customer requirement, what is the technical descriptor, what is the relationship between these two, and what is the relationship between these two, and what is the relationship between these, what is the relationship between these. All this information you will gather. This is how you have to develop. This is called L-shaped diagram. You have to develop after identifying of the technical descriptors. This is how to prepare. And then after you develop this L shape, I said you have to identify the relationship between this and this. How to find the relationship between is, so for example, this is for this particular specific product, for this technical that is material. For example, this is the product called tire, and technical descriptor, this could be a material stainless steel. So for this material, for this product, this stainless steel is preferable or not. Here they mention weak, because maybe that company is taking some other material. That material is not exactly good for this particular product. Therefore, they mention maybe it is called weak. They mention strong here. Maybe for the spokes, they are using some kind of thing. Maybe for this product, this technical descriptor, that particular technical descriptor may be good. That is why they mention like this, right? In this way, you have to develop your relationship between customer requirements and the test categories. For it is a relationship between what's and how's. After identifying of these all, these all, so you have to develop something called technical descriptors, because up to here, we developed up to here, this L shape. Immediately, you have to develop a relationship between among the technical descriptors. What is the relationship between of this one to this one, this one to this one? What is the relationship between this primary technical descriptor to this one? That is called correlation matrix. It talks about interrelationship among the technical descriptors, right? And generally, these are the symbols we will provide. I said you already. It is mentioning as sorry. In this way, you have to develop your technical descriptors. For these, if you observe carefully, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here 8. Therefore, you have to generate 8 rows here. 8 rows like this. Let me draw it here. For this one, for example, right? So for that, 1 row. For this, again, another row. For this, another row. Another row. For this, another row. Like this. Right? In this way, we have generated the relationship between these and the customer requirement accordingly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 8. Right? So in this way, you have to develop these rows and columns, and inside of this, you have to find the relationship between this means relationship between this, right, and this. that is this one among this one, this one, this one among this one, right? Among the relationship between this and this. Anyway, I will explain you in detail. This is how we have to develop the correlation matrix. And now we developed at least some part of our house, right? So later part is, it is a customer competitive assessment. This is about the matrix, the customer competitive assessment. This is the matrix, and you also fill this one, this particular matrix, and customer competitive assessment. This matrix, it generally competitive assessment between your company with the top one company of that particular product, top two company. It depends on the company. You can take even 3, 4, 5, etc. And you can compare your values with the other company values, so that you can understand which stage you are at the particular product of the particular technical descriptor. If anything you need to change, you can change accordingly. If it is better than these, then where you are actually doing wrong. In that way, you can do the assessment. For that, the customer competitive assessment is required. And then you will do, there is other one called technical competitive assessment. This is your company, and then company A, company B, you will compare it. Therefore, I filled here the customer competitive assessment and technical competitive assessment, and this is the respective values. How these values are coming, I will take one example and I will explain. Right? This is how we will generate. At least now we generated up to here, right? You know all this now. After doing that, anyway, the relationship with matrix, you know that I said you. These are the performance measures I will take with respect to customer requirement, and that is called relationship prioritization matrix. And similarly, another prioritized matrix for the customer requirement here, another prioritized matrix for the technical descriptors. I have taken this. Right? In that way, I have taken the prioritization matrix of these as well as this. These are the things we have to calculate: degree of technical difficulty, target value, absolute weight and percentage, relative weight and percentage. Here, I will calculate customer importance, target value, scale of factor, sales point, absolute weight. Right? In this way, I will calculate the performance measures at the customer side of this. I will calculate the performance measures of the technical side of these, so that at the end you will get some weightages. Relative weightage. This is the most factor. Depending upon that, your company is in which position with respect to the other companies. Your company is in which position with respect to the other companies, or your service with respect to the other service in which position. If something is wrong because your weightage is less, then you maybe understand where exactly you are wrong, whether at the technical descriptor side or whether at the technical descriptor side, whether at the customer requirement side, where exactly you are doing wrong, at what parameter is need to be improved. Okay, all this information you will be understand with the help of the QFD analysis. That is called quality function deployment analysis. Right? This is how the QFD will be prepared. Right? In today's class, I only explain you the theoretical part of the QFD analysis and how the shape look like and how the internal components look like and how the procedure can be followed and what could be the procedural wise or the step-by-step process of the QFD analysis and the terminology behind the QFD analysis. In the next class, what I will do is I will take one example of it could be a product or service, and I will detail you each and everything how to, with the help of that example, how to construct the QFD. So this is about today's session. Please let me know if you have any doubts. If you have any queries, please let me know. So are you listening first? Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Only Sudarshan. Okay. Did you understand up to here? Are you having any doubts? Did you understand at least up to here? Okay. Good, good, good. Fine. I'm having some numbers now. Good, good. Fine. Okay. Let us see for next class. Before that, let me take the attendance. One 170.
Present, sir.
106.
Yes, sir.
107.
Yes, sir.
109.
Present, sir.
111. Sumant Bullu. Sunil. 113.
Yes, sir.
114. Deshmukh, are you there?
Present, sir. Viraj, 14.
Okay. Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, who is that? Yes, who is that? Yeah, Deshmukh.
Sir, it's Viraj. Sir.
Deshmukh, I have given you. I have given you attendance.
Okay, sir.
Jinnah Jaideep Reddy, 121.
Present, sir.
123. Srikanth. No Srikanth here. Okay. Vinay Kumar Reddy, 125.
Yes, sir. Present, sir.
Mangaldeep, 129.
Present, sir.
Present, sir.
131 present. 133. 133.
Present, sir.
Okay.
Present, sir.
136. Nitish Kumar. 142.
Yes, sir. Present, sir.
147.
Yeah, present, sir.
151.
Yes, sir. Present, sir.
153. 153 Sayan Bose. Sudarshan present. Siddhant.
Yes, sir.
Siddesh.
Yes, sir.
Sudarshan Ramesh. Yash.
Present, sir.
170.
Yes, sir. Present.
Okay.
Present, sir.
Abhishek Rudra. Abhishek Rudra. 203. Akash. 205. 206.
Yes, sir.
208. Ashwin John. 209.
John has mic issue, so he disconnected.
209. 221.
Yes, sir. Present, sir.
229.
Present, sir.
234.
Present, sir.
237.
Present, sir.
240. PK Ray. 240. 252. 252. 253.
Present, sir.
254.
Yes, sir.
250. 266.
Present, sir.
270.
Present, sir.
112.
Present, sir.
265.
Sir, 250.
220. 220.
Sir, 252 present.
252 present. Saksham.
Sakshamanand, yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir,
Yeah.
173111. Ballu Sumant is also present, sir. He has some network issues.
113. What is the number?
3111, sir. Ballu Sumant.
Sixth one, sir.
Okay. Anyone this class? Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I don't know, sir. नहीं